Hello lovely heads, welcome home. My name is Starlight aka Hippie Gamer Chick and I am obsessed with spirituality. In today's video I'm talking about something a little bit different. Every time I go to film this it feels like it gets harder and harder and I don't know why. I feel overwhelmed every time I try and film this, but I'm gonna do my best today, so bear with me. I've already tried to film this once before. Well, actually I've tried to film this a couple of times, but the most recent time the entire video was out of focus and I double checked the focus. I've checked it again today and it seems to be in focus, so I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, let's start from the beginning. And I've just noticed the battery is running low this time, but I'm going to attempt it again, and if I'm supposed to film this it'll work out. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I've just changed the battery. That's what I mean, it's really weird. All these kind of things happen every time I go to film this video and I'm wondering if it's him, which you'll understand in a moment, but okay, let's go. It's probably not the best time to film this as I have been feeling fragile lately, but I'm going to attempt to anyway because I know it's important. Today I'm going to be talking about a sensitive subject and I'm going to pop a trigger warning down as well because it is relating to someone taking their own life. So I just want to put that out there now, and I'm going to basically be talking about coping with loss and the ways that have helped me the most and just different ways that I found the most beneficial for my own sanity and well-being and surviving the loss. I'll give you a brief run through of firstly what happened with me, and then I will talk about different ways of coping with it. So if you're into this sort of thing, please hit that subscribe button down below, click the bell to turn on notifications, and you can also follow me on Instagram. So this is a predominantly gaming channel, but I am branching out and also having this series called Starlight's Advice, and it's all about just spirituality and everything along those lines that you can possibly think of. So I'll get into this. Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of what happened to me. When I was in my early 20s, I'd lost quite a lot of people. Let's just say that people at that age usually haven't lost the amount of people that I did, which was quite traumatic for me. So I think by the age of 22, I'd already lost around 9 or 10 people or something along those lines, and in all different ways. Some people were younger, some people were older, but it was all very sudden and unexpected. But this loss definitely hit me the hardest. So basically I met this beautiful man when I was in my early 20s named Riley. I'm gonna start crying already. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It's okay. It's weird because I talk about this and I talk about this openly with people close to me, and I can talk about it without crying, but I feel a lot more vulnerable right now talking to a camera about it, which might sound really odd, but I don't know why. It's just how I'm feeling right now, I guess. I just need a tissue. Okay, I'm alright. So I met this beautiful man named Riley. He was American. We had a very hard and fast romance. It was something that was really unexpected at the time. I wasn't looking to meet anybody. I was just living my life, young and free. I was going to a lot of festivals. I was working as a temp worker, so I had all these different types of jobs in admin, and yeah, it was a really random time in my life. And then this handsome man stumbled into my life with his beautiful olive skin, and he had these eyes that just, I felt like they saw into your soul. He had long brown hair, a beautiful big bright smile, and a mustache. One time he shaved it and I was so like, I couldn't stop staring at his lip because his mustache was like my favorite thing about him. But anyway, so he was in Australia on a working visa and he only had a few months left. He'd already been in Australia for quite a while. So by the time that we met, it was just crazy timing. this is what I mean about synchronicity. I know that all of this was supposed to happen to me. Even though I hate that it did happen, I believe that everything does happen for a reason. I know that is such a overused saying, but there's a lot of merit to it. So yeah, I met him at this festival. We got along straight away. He basically moved in to my house with my family very, very quickly. It was like one of those things where we just knew, we just were so in love instantly, and my parents loved him. And I remember my mum saying to me at one point early on though, be careful, he's a tourist, he's a traveler, like he's not going to be someone that can stick around, so don't, like, just protect your heart. I said to her, it's too late, I'm already in love. And the crazy thing about that is he overheard that conversation, and he didn't tell me that until a year or two later. But anyway, yeah, we fell in love, and right around the same time, I'm getting sidetracked. So the synchronicity I was talking about is I was planning a trip to America. I was planning to go to a huge festival over there with a few of my friends, because I love music and I love music festivals and I love going on road trips and being free. And I'd found out about this amazing festival. You guys have probably heard of it, called Burning Man Festival. If you haven't, you should give it a Google, because it's incredible. It's way too massive now though. I don't think I could survive out there. I do want to go back one day, but it's just gotten massive. I think a lot of celebrities and that go there. I went back before it got so huge, so I went when there was around 40,000 people, which is still huge, and it's in the middle of the desert, so in Nevada, it's just insane. But I was planning on going to that festival, so we were both kind of traveling, and it just kind of happened to line up though that his visa was running out right around the time that I was going to be going to America. I go to this crazy festival. I'm so deeply in love with him, and he's so deeply in love with me, but I kept thinking, oh, what if he doesn't show up to Reno, which is where I went to after the festival had finished. I don't know, I was just worried. And then he rocked up at the hotel that I was staying at, and he walked in and the first thing he said was, honey, I'm home. And I just wrapped my arms around him. The rest was history. Like, we traveled America for 3 months together. He showed me all the sights. We had the most beautiful time. Also, all of my friends back home absolutely adored him. Like, we had a little going away party before I left, and it just, everything kind of fell into line, and we just fell in love. I met all of his family. I really loved his family and stayed with both sides of his family. It was just an amazing experience, one that I'll never forget. Being free, just driving through America, was absolutely beautiful. I feel like it's something that is such a faint, distant memory. I don't know when we're going to be able to do things like that again with COVID life. But anyway, so we were together for a couple of years. He eventually moved to Australia. He fell in love with Australia and Australians. He loved the way we spoke, the laid back kind of personalities that everybody has. Yeah, he had this love for it, and he ended up applying to move back to Australia on another working visa. And he became a chef. He was an amazing cook. I put on a fair bit of weight while I was with him because he was feeding me all this beautiful food. And yeah, he was studying over here, which was very difficult because of the costs and things like that. But he worked his ass off, and he was a really beautiful, talented person who was just kind to everyone he met. He was quite quiet, but he was like that quiet observer type, and I was the loud, wild one, and we just balanced each other out. Anyway, we'd been living together, keep this in mind, pretty much from the get-go. So in that amount of time, it felt like I'd been with him for 10 years because we were never separate. We were always together. The only time we were separate when I went to Burning Man. We are living together at this point, and I started noticing some things that he was saying and doing that were a little bit off, but it was within such a short amount of time. Like, it was within a week. He was just saying some things that were a bit off. Everyone was telling me like not to worry about it, and that I don't want to go into detail just to protect like his family's privacy and things like that, but he was just, I could tell that he was slowly losing touch with himself, and he was obviously going through some stuff, and he wasn't someone who openly talked to others about it. He did talk to me, but that's the only time where I felt this disconnect, and I was kind of wondering what was going on. I don't want to go into detail about exactly what happened because it's going to be extremely triggering to people, and it's extremely triggering for myself. But basically, we had the best life. We were talking about getting married. We had a dog. We had this cute little apartment together right near the beach. We had just everything going for us, and he was so supportive to me as well, like to all of my dreams and my goals. He would support me all the way, and he was so beautiful and gentle, and he would make me these beautiful handwritten cards and write me songs, and he just looked after me. And I'd never had that in a relationship, and I just felt this crazy love. And I never had someone who was also so spiritual and open to like spirituality, and he wasn't materialistic at all. He was very generous and not about money or things like that, and I'd never been in a relationship like that. But basically he went downhill very quickly. He was just saying some things and acting a certain way that was a little bit off. I still in a million years never thought he would ever take his life or anything like that. And I've reached out to people close to me, and everyone that I reached out to was telling me not to worry and things like that. And so the weekend that he passed away is when, within 24 hours, that's when he was definitely, something wasn't right. It was very traumatizing, and I didn't really know how to cope with it or who to talk to. I tried to reach out to Lifeline and a couple of different numbers. I remember trying to talk to my family about it. I tried to talk to his family about it. I don't know whether to go into detail about this because it's so full on. Basically, he was acting odd the night before, and we went to sleep, and I like called my mum that night too, telling her. She even came around at one point to check and see if he was okay, and he reassured her that everything was fine, and so she left. And that morning he spoke to his dad, and I spoke to his dad, and I took him to work, and I could just tell he still wasn't himself. Something wasn't right, and he was still acting really off. I was a little bit afraid because I wasn't used to him being unpredictable or acting differently. He was just a very like easygoing, down to earth person, so it was weird when he wasn't acting himself. But I just was on edge. After I dropped him off, he gave me a kiss, and he looked at me, and he had this look in his eyes, and I can't describe it, but I just remember feeling this kind of heavy heart as he walked away. He said, "I love you," and he said, "Wish me luck." And I don't know, but I remember that just feeling weird to me, the way he said it, which might not sound like much to anybody else, but it was weird coming from him when I was just dropping him off at work. I remember him saying that, and I was kind of like, what does he mean by that, and what is going on? And I drove to my best friend's house at the time, and I told her about some of the things he was saying, and she was just really supportive. And then I drove straight to my mum's afterwards and expressed that I was really concerned, because I'd been messaging him as well and just seeing how he was going at work, and I'd been talking to his dad, and he hadn't been replying. And usually he'd always reply, even if he was busy at work, he'd find time to reply or call me back. And I tried calling him. So I went to mum's and told her everything, and she said, we need to go get him from work. Like he's going through something. You guys can come stay with us for a while. So we go down to his work. This is when, I don't know if I can go into this because it's going to be a little bit too full on for me to talk about, and I don't want to trigger anybody. He basically had taken his life, and my entire world was just completely shattered to pieces. And my mum thought of him as like her son. Like she wanted to protect and care for him. Yeah, she really, really loved him. So it destroyed all of us, my whole family, all the friends in Australia that he had, obviously back home, his family, everyone. It's crazy to me because he would have had no idea the impact that I was going to make on people. And I know he wouldn't have, or he wouldn't have done that, because he was so selfless and so loving. It changed my life forever. I'll never be the same person that I was before it happened. I am who I am because of what happened, and I'm so glad that I got to know and love him at all. Like that saying goes, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never have loved at all. It's so true. The point of today's video is just to go over some of my coping mechanisms through the years, and what has helped me get through such a horrific event that changes your life forever. So the top ways that I found that personally helped me is sitting with your grief. It is totally okay to just sit there some days and not get out of bed and cry and remember them and miss them and long for them. It is totally, that is natural and normal. And I hate the stigma about like, oh, it's time to move on, or, you know, sometimes you just need to sit with it, especially early on. Like you lose track of time. Time literally becomes irrelevant. Everything becomes a blur. I barely remember the first like 6 months. The first 3 months are a complete blur. Then the first 6 months are also very hazy, and then that year just went by like a whirlwind. And it's okay to cry. So I used to wake up crying. I'd fall asleep crying and then wake up crying, and I think that there's this like, you've got to be strong. And of course, when you lose somebody, especially somebody you deeply love, in such an unexpected way, you're going to struggle and it's going to hurt and you're going to cry. It's normal. So yeah, sitting with your grief at first is very important, and just like knowing that it's okay to be sad and to miss that person. The second thing is to reach out for support. So I know that seems so simple, but it can feel so hard at the time, especially when you're really struggling. I made like a Facebook post just explaining to people that I was struggling and that I needed that extra support. And it was surprising to me. It kind of of who was there and who wasn't. It really does show who your real friends are when you do lose somebody or when something traumatic like that happens to you. Yeah, you just got to reach out, and not just to friends and family, but there's so many resources out there. We have the internet now. There's so many people as well who have lost people or suffered from grief or losing someone, especially to suicide. And I hate that word, but yeah, like someone taking their own lives. There's so many resources. I'm gonna link some down below. There's Facebook groups you can join. I ended up going to group therapy, which really helped me, and it was free. And I also went to counselling, grief counselling. I don't know how I would have survived if I didn't have those things. I didn't do that until about 3 months after his passing because it was way too early in those first 3 months. I needed that time to just process everything. So yeah, that is really important, to just reach out to people and know that you're not alone. Remember the person, remember them, and remember the beautiful memories you shared. I've got a picture behind us of him now, and I'll pop a picture up here of him as well. But I know everyone copes with grief differently. Like my mum has lost a lot of people and she prefers not to look at pictures of them, but I am very different like that. I like looking at photos. It reminds me of the beautiful times we shared and things like that, and we took so many, obviously, traveling, so I will never forget the memories, and I don't ever want to. Like, he was a huge part of my life. And also remember that they're not perfect. When someone passes away, people tend to put them up on a pedestal and forget that we're all human beings, and there's always going to be bad memories as well, or times that, you know, weren't perfect, but it doesn't make you love them any less, or you remembering that a bad person or anything like that. It's totally normal. It's normal and it's healthy to remember them being a human being and not perfect, even though he was pretty close. He was such a beautiful guy, but obviously nobody is perfect, and the way he left was horrible, but not being perfect is what makes people so beautiful. Have a plan for days that are going to be hard for you, like their anniversary or so for me, it's our anniversary being together, the anniversary of his passing, and his birthday. Whether it's just sitting with close friends and talking about your favorite memories of that person, especially the first few years. Whether it's making a memory book, which I did actually make. I'll grab it for you because it's hard. But I made this book with the help of very close friends and family. So I made the first few pages, and then I got my mum to add some pages. Sorry, there's dust. And then I got close friends to add some pages. And yeah, I'll just show you the first page. I won't show you the whole book, but it's the first page. I just have pictures and little sayings and quotes and memories and things like that. So I made this memory book, and it really did help me. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love looking at his smile. That just helped me to kind of sit down, and it's like therapy, writing down all your favorite memories of that person, and it really does kind of give you a place as well to go back and look over, and you can always add to it later. I still have not finished this because it's hard. It's a hard thing to do, and I still want to add to it. It's just a cool thing to show people as well that didn't know him or that might want to know more about him. So yeah, the memory book really helped. One huge thing that I beg of you guys, if you've lost anyone, especially through them taking their own lives, is to not blame yourself and to stop questioning it. Everyone did this. I did this. Even people that weren't that close to him did this. The amount of people that blamed themselves or thought they should have known or they could have done something, or no one can know something like that. It was so sudden and unexpected, and even though he was acting out of sorts, anyone in his life would never think he would harm himself, as that just wasn't the sort of person he was. We have even had conversations about things like that, and I lost somebody whilst I was with him to that exact thing, and he was just like, that's horrible, and it's not something that I know in his right mind he would never have done. So he obviously was really, really suffering. Remember like significant or beautiful, meaningful things that happen after they pass, because a lot of beautiful things happened that I kind of would brush off or be like, oh, that's strange. But now I look back and I'm like, that was him. That has to have been him, because there were some just amazing stories and moments that I had. And I think it's important to write them down. I also, after he passed, I've been doing this for a long time, but I got way more into it once he passed, is write a journal of what you do every day, just to keep your mind going and keep having some sort of purpose, you know? I couldn't work for a long time after he was gone. It was just too much for me, but I eventually went and continued on with my course and went back to work, and that definitely also helped me, having a distraction. They're the top ways that helped me survive losing Riley. I am not an expert by any means, and this is just a video to give some people advice out there who might be going through something similar, to tell you that you're not alone. It's something you'll never understand, so please stop trying to understand it and just remember the memories and love them for who they are, and know that you will come out of this stronger. It's not something that you ever get over, it just changes and it'll shape you in different ways. It'll make you more resilient and stronger, and it will also make you have more of an appreciation for life and how fragile it is. One thing that it's taught me is just to love people with everything I have, and I do tend to forgive people, but I'm also getting stronger with not letting bad people into my life anymore, or people who hurt me, because I just don't have the energy. And when you're fragile in the first like few months or year, you attract people that are also fragile. Well, I did anyway. And it can be a good thing because you can help support each other, but can also be a bad thing. So just remember to protect your energy and protect your heart and things like that. I also am not opposed to prayer, and if religion helps you, then I totally think that that's okay. It's whatever helps. I truly believe that no one ever really dies, and that we're all infinite beings, and he's gone on, come a part of the all. Yeah, I think just prayer and anything that helps you, whether it's praying to God or whatever religion you are, or just talking to them. I talked to him all the time like a crazy woman, but yeah, I'd be driving in my car talking to him, and it really did help me. So that is another way of supporting yourself. I've always heard this analogy about suicide, and I definitely agree with it. It's like when someone passes from something else, like an illness or something, you can see the tidal wave coming at you, but when it's something so sudden, it's like your back is faced to the ocean and it just hits you and it just drowns you. And I did feel like I was drowning for a long time afterwards, but I can say now that I am stronger than I ever was. And even though I do still have hard days, like it never leaves you. I am so lucky to have the people in my life that I have, and to have had him. He really helped me appreciate music and art and life and travel, and he gave me the travel bug. So after I met him, I ended up traveling the world. Do end up seeing the bigger picture after someone's passed away. You also don't have to rush into finding somebody or another relationship. I found I was trying to fill the void by like dating, and I remember at first I was like, I'll never fall in love again, I'll never date again. But just give yourself time, and if you need a distraction, that's okay. I needed that too, but just give yourself time to really help yourself first and love yourself and protect yourself. So I hope that's helped some of you guys today. I'm sorry if that was a bit all over the place. This was really hard for me to film. I had a big cry, but I'm okay. I got through it, and if you have any questions below, please let me know. I'm just going to pop a few photos up at the end of this so you guys can see a little bit more of Riley. And just remember to be kind to everybody, love everyone with all you have, and appreciate others, because we never know when they might not be here anymore, and that's when you realize that nothing else matters. Everything else seems so tiny compared to losing somebody. So I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you can be anything, please be kind. Peace, love, and vibe on, guys. Mwah.